early today. We have a very power-packed agenda for you this afternoon. So greetings, my name is Tony Archery, and I'm one of the directors of the Club 17 Rotary Club. I am honored to be your host today, filling in for our awesome president, Doug Moulton. So let's get started. We're going to have our national anthem by Janet Metzelar and Bill Stilling.
Please stand and sing with all of your heart.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We will now have Todd Anderson come and do our four-way test and then
Thank you, Madam President. Let us pray. Holy One, we are grateful for all that is before us. We contemplate every day as Rotarians what it means to have service above self as a part of our life and in our very actions. This day as we gather and are mindful of all that is before us, we think about our world and our place in it and the opportunities that we have to serve. Bless and strengthen us every day of our lives as we contemplate all that is before us, and that we are mindful of those around us that we know and those that we do not know, but our lives intersect and we impact each other by the conduct of our lives. Bless us and strengthen us, for it is in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And now let us join together in all of those pieces that guide us in our direction.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
at this time, we will have Eric Walker come and introduce our, I'm sorry, Bill Stilling. Start it out.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Cincinnati Rotary Club 17, the 17th oldest Rotary Club in the universe. Also one of the bigger clubs in the country. And I like the tagline, it clearly is the best. Welcome. I'd like to introduce guests and prospective members. As I call your name, if you would please stand up so that you might recognize you. We're quite honored today. Guess who's with us? Bill Gates. Bill, to us is just as important. He's with Cincinnati Green and the guest of Dan Richard. Also guest of Dan Richard is Brian Frank with First Transit. Greg Soprano is with Hutchins Insurance Group and a guest of Michael Johnson. Vanessa Kurtzer of Cincinnati Youth Collaborative, a guest of King Steve. And Keisha Lowry, another guest of Michael Schatzman. Sue McDonald is retired and a guest of Gary Walton.
Oh well, I bring greetings from the good people of Price Hill. In case you don't know it, I am Gary Walton, and I am the founder of the Cincinnati Type and Print Museum in Price Hill. You have in front of you this little thing, and I'm not going to go over it. In there are 3 pillars that we stand on. If I say something today that warms your heart, feel free to use your camera and scan that barcode, and you become part of the museum. When I was thinking about naming the museum back in 2013, I could have called it Type and Print Museum. That just didn't seem right to call it Type and Print Museum. And then I remember in 1976, I'm at the Cincinnati airport, and there was this huge display about how strong crew was in 1901 in Cincinnati. We were the second largest printing center in the world. We're still number 9, by the way. We're the second largest printing in the world. And this warmth inside me grew because I'm born in Cincinnati. I lived my whole life in Cincinnati. If you are like that, if you born in Cincinnati, live in Cincinnati, now, I'm going to keep those hands up. Next question. If Cincinnati is now your hometown, and you wouldn't think of living anywhere else but Cincinnati, raise your hand. All right, good. I see those hands. And see, that's that warmth that's coming up in you, right? And so it had to be called the Cincinnati Type and Print Museum. In the next 5 or 10 years, the Cincinnati Type and Print Museum is going to become a landmark, especially in the state of growth, a landmark in the city. And you might just say, here, come on. You're dead. No. This year alone, we had people from California, New Mexico, Texas, Alabama, Michigan, Wisconsin, Tennessee, South and North Carolina, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and Maine, who all came to the museum because they heard about it. And that number is going to keep growing. And we will become landmark. In 1455, Gutenberg invents movable type and printing press, which changes everything. At that point, there were 5,000 books in all of Europe. 20 years later, there's 20 billion books. So really, it was the printers that really was able to record history, record information, move us out of the dark age, start the Reformation. And I'm happy to say that in 2023, the print industry is once again going to rock the world because we are going to print affordable. And it's happening now, and it's going to happen on a big scale. Sure. So hopefully I've warmed your spirit, and you say, I want to be a part of this group, and you scan that. Okay? Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Always keep a positive attitude. Get it pressed on.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Sheard, and let's see, is this going to work? I help chair the social media committee with my fearless team. So we've got 4 other folks that help and spreading the word, growing Rotary through social media. So today I just wanted to take a quick minute and talk with you guys about sharing social media posts, specifically through Facebook for Rotary 2 Days. You guys know that Rotary 2 Days are signs posted all over the place. We've got it coming up at the end of October, 26th, 27th, and 28th. And we need loads of volunteers in order to make this successful. So what I'm going to do is share with you exactly step-by-step instructions how to share this information with your friends, your colleagues, your family, so that we can get all of those spots filled and have each of those volunteer opportunities taken care of. So, first step in the process, if you guys want to direct over to the screen, I've got some screenshots here so you guys can see exactly what to do. First of all, you need to make sure that you're on the Rotary Club of Cincinnati public page. So you can see the little icon there where it's got our emblem. That will indicate that we are on the right page. So next is looking at the feed, and this right here is actually a post from last week. We've been doing monthly posts for the due days just to make sure we've got lots of saturation. You guys are seeing that. So this is last week's post, and the opportunity to share is going to be at the very bottom. So it's going to be below the picture, and I have a big blue arrow there pointing to a share button, which is kind of a curved arrow. And then on the next screen, so if you tap that curved arrow, this is what we'll present. So you'll see the option to share it to like a feed on your public feed or some more options. So if you decide, hey, I want to share this with my friends on my public Facebook page, then you can type a little message in there to your folks that you want to share this with, and then hit the share now button. The other option is if maybe you've got a business page and you want to share it there as well, you can actually use the little drop down where it says feed, and you can go to whatever page on Facebook it is that you want to share that information. And then at the bottom, it says more options. So say you don't really want to share it on your public Facebook page, but you would rather send it via text message or email to your friends or your family. You can click on that more options button, and then it comes down here to the bottom where you can see copy. So you just hit that, and then it copies that link, and then you can put that in any kind of message that you like. So if you're not really wanting to share it on Facebook, that's okay. You can use it in other ways, which is wonderful. So I did have a question though really quickly before all of this started. I had someone ask, well, what happens if you don't have Facebook? Like, that's a great question. So if you do want to continue to share this information, you can go to our Rotary website, and there is going to be a link for the due days. Sign up for volunteers. You can just use that. So just copy that link, and then you can share that via text message or email or whatever method you choose to share that with your significant others or your friends and family. So, what I want you guys to do now at this point is we're going to do a little test. I want everyone to grab out their mobile devices if they can, quickly. And what we're going to do is walk through this really, really fast together as a group. So, if you guys can locate the Facebook app, number one. And then if you can find our Rotary page, so look for that big icon there, the little picture that says Rotary Club of Cincinnati, and you'll know you're on the public page. Okay, that's good so far? Okay. And then from there, if you see probably one of the very first posts from today, there is another due days post. So it's going to be 3 gentlemen in yellow shirts wrangling some playground equipment. I don't have the picture up here, so I apologize. You'll see that. Does everyone see that? Yeah? Okay, that's good. And then you guys can share that. So do you all see the curved arrow there at the bottom of the post? No? Okay. Well, if you don't see it, let me know. I will definitely come by and help. So that is the area that you guys are going to want to go to, where it says share. So the curved arrow that says share, click on that, and then choose your method of share. So that's all I have. If you guys have any questions, I will be right over here. I'm happy to help answer. And just a quick plug for due days. Make sure you guys get some of your posters. They are out by the tables as you leave. Plant them in your yard and share with your friends, family, and colleagues. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Stephanie. That was awesome. If you all have any other questions, please feel free to go to Stephanie, and she'll be more than happy to help you. Next, I'm going to read our announcements. Birthdays. Brett LeVar, past president. Brett LeVar, you here today? Galen Gordon. Caitlin Lanehart on September the 7th. Today is actually her birthday. Let's give them a round of applause. We also have split the pot. 25% goes to the winner, which is how much today?
Winner's $35.
$35.
Here's the big pie.
All right. The big pot is $724. And we're going to ask our distinguished guests to draw for us today. Steve. And the winning number is 470469. 470469. One more time, 470469. Going once, going twice. Sold! 50% goes to the club of our membership development efforts. Let's see if you'll draw the Queen of Hearts.
So close.
Ah, 5 of clubs. All right, better luck next time.
So close.
Rotarians at Work is next Thursday, September the 14th, featuring 6 locations, all starting at noon. afternoon. Please sign up today by 4 o'clock. See Christy if you have any questions. Note that we have a few places that are already filled up. The College of Mortuary Science and Light Barn are now full. Spots are first come, first reserved. Our next hands-on service project will be Monday, September the 11th. Shared Harvest and Freestore Food Bank are looking for support staff, volunteers to help pack. I'm not sure, is that 200,000?
200,000.
Meals for Cintas or 20,000?
200,000.
200,000. Okay, we need a lot of help there. You can volunteer all day or in 2-hour increments. Please see the E-Raise and Ed DeVoy. Ed, raise your hand. There he is back in the back to volunteer. Our next neighborhood coffee will be September the 19th from 8 to 10 a.m. at Cafe Vice in Walnut Hills. Did I do okay? Vivace. There we go. In Walnut Hills. This is an awesome place. That is September the 19th from 8 to 10 a.m. More details and registration in DBAC. Let's see. Next, how many people were at the Reds game last night? It was a really great time. We had an awesome turnout. We want to thank Owen Wasserman and our administrative committee, for coordinating that. Next, we have a World Affairs update. We're going to bring John Barmeyer, our co-chair of the World Affairs Committee, and our other co-chair is Tom Noonan. Tom, raise your hand. He's back there in the back. And afterwards, we will have our lead Rotarian and advisor, Deborah Schultz, to talk about the Sun Project.
Thank you, Acting President Tony. And good afternoon, everyone. As many of you are aware, the World Affairs Committee, or WAC as we affectionately call it, has for decades been active in leading and doing on-the-ground service works to locations throughout the world, much as we do here in the Tri-State. We've sent Cincinnati Rotarians on missions of service to places like Nepal, Jamaica, Kenya, and more recently to Madagascar and Ghana. Our projects have generally focused on education and medical care of children, clean water, and sanitation. Soon, we will be seeking a project and looking for local partners in the Western Hemisphere. Over the next few months, our goal is to identify perhaps 3 potential projects in the Caribbean or Latin America, present them to the club, and decide which option makes sense for us to pursue. Our goal is to establish a relationship with an active Rotary Club abroad and work in conjunction with a local nonprofit to provide service to those in need, much the same as we do here in Cincinnati. Today, however, our focus is on solar power and our ongoing project in Uganda. Here for an update is Deborah Schultz, our champion supreme for the Solarize Uganda Now Sun Project. Please give Deborah a close listen, and whether or not you are able to attend WAC's fundraiser on October the 3rd, please make a generous gift to the fundraiser. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? I want to make sure you can hear me. I believe in the power of great ideas and in implementing them to be sustainable. Paul Harris had a great idea when he gathered 3 friends in Chicago in 1905 for the first Rotary meeting. And only 5 years later, the first international club was founded in Winnipeg, Canada. By 1921, Rotary was represented on every continent. A year later, the name Rotary International was adopted. All 46,000 Rotary clubs are asked to serve their communities, their club, and their members. But the 4th critical ask is to perform international service, utilizing the vast network and opportunities being a Rotarian provides us. It's part of our mission and our club, the legacy of Paul Harris's great idea, and a way to realize what it means to be Rotarian in the fullest sense of the word. There's no one in this room who can take an honest look at our planet today and not be struck by the need to help others to help themselves. That's the essence of good international projects like Solarize Uganda Now. Sun. Sun installs solar in schools and medical centers in Uganda. Basic amenities such as light and refrigeration we take for granted, but wide swaths of the world's population exist without these amenities, such as in rural Uganda. Let me give you some good news. Because of Sun, 43 rural Ugandan schools have LED lights inside and outside, powered by solar. 4 medical centers have LED lights and refrigeration for vaccines, powered by solar. And 3 new solar-powered wells give clean water to a whole Ugandan district, Butambala. That's what we've accomplished in 8 years. That's 50 installations to date, with 50 more schools and medical centers already assessed and clamoring with phone calls to us daily. Where is my installation you promised? This is a $350,000 project, roughly. We already have in a warehouse the panels and batteries in storage, but need roughly another $100,000 for ancillary equipment and labor costs. The good news is we have a $50,000 one-for-one matching grant, and every gift you designate to Sun will be matched. It would be phenomenal if we could raise $50,000 in our club. I always think big. To date, 50 installations saved 80,000 metric tons of CO2 carbon from being released into the atmosphere, with more savings to come with the 100 installation campaign. With your help, 100 installations will significantly improve the lives of close to, are you ready for this, 250,000 people. In specific ways and ways we have yet to imagine. As a senior advisor to Sun, I'm working to apply at some future point for one of our eyes $1.2 million project of scales grants, because with 100 completed installations, I think we have a shot at it. All of our installations are fully maintained with regular on-site visits and soon to be assisted by our new student training program for selected male and female students in our schools. The Student Technician Enrollment Program is called STEP. We are literally giving Uganda a new generation of solar installers and managers. Supplies are sourced to Uganda to aid their economy. Supplies are sourced in Uganda to aid their economy. Studies show dramatically improved test scores with up to 4 more hours of study each night. Students at the University of Cincinnati and North Carolina State conduct impact studies for us and volunteer. Thanks to All We Are, our partner organization run by Nathan Thomas, the founder. Nathan, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is one of my favorite people in this world. He's a full-time engineer, past Rotary president, and district governor at age 31. All We Are is a volunteer crew, mostly made up of white geeks, many of which you met when he was a student at UC. So here's the pitch. Nearly half the population of Uganda is under the age of 19. Lean, green, and clean solar is lighting their way out of poverty through education. In rural areas, women in labor are afraid to seek out dark clinics. And if they do, they often have to give birth by candlelight, and there are surgeries done by candlelight. Sun, All We Are provides LED lighting inside and outside all our installations and includes power for refrigerated needed vaccines. Schools are already expanding classrooms due to energy savings and educating more students. Most of our schools, a large percentage of the schools that we put solar in have no source of energy, and the ones that do have, it's terribly, terribly expensive. I'm donating a wine dinner worth $2,100 at the Montgomery Inn Boathouse, which can be won by anyone in a drawing with one ticket for each 1,000 individual contribution. Hope that's an inducement. But the project itself should be inducing enough. Our club has made a big difference in educating impoverished young people, saving lives in solarized medical centers, improving the environment, and creating jobs and hope. Paul Harris's powerful idea of service, before self, throughout the world, really does work. That's a lot of deliverables in one project, a lot of deliverables. I ask for your support. Please give generously to this impactful endeavor. There are so many people to thank, and I'm going to save that for the fundraiser, which is Advanced Studios, October 3rd, 5:30 to 7:30. But I want to thank the committee and everybody on it today as well. Thank you, and I hope you'll contribute. I get to introduce the speaker today, too. Okay, so we wanted to have a speaker that we thought appropriately tied in with our theme about solar. And we found a terrific one who's spoken to us before, and we're glad to welcome him back. Steve Melink is the founder and chairman of the Melink Corporation, a provider of HVAC commissioning services, energy-saving kitchen hoods controls, building health monitoring, solar PV systems, and geothermal heating and cooling since 1987. Steve is a licensed professional engineer in Ohio and holds a BSME degree from Vanderbilt and an MBA from Duke. He has served on the boards for Green Energy Ohio, Ohio.Advanced Energy, U.S. Green Buildings Council, Green Umbrella, and Xavier University Sustainability and Academics. Melink Corporation operates two net zero energy facilities near Cincinnati. Additionally, over 50% of its employee owners drive hybrids and electric vehicles. It's coming. The company's campus is a model for healthy and efficient best places to work. Isn't that wonderful? Steve is the author of Fusion Capitalism, a clean energy vision for conservative, published by ForbesBooks in 2020. In his book, he advocates for U.S. leadership in the coming clean energy revolution to win the war on climate change and improve the economy, security, and health. He's a national expert and speaker, and Melink customers include many of the largest and most successful companies in the U.S. and in the world. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Steve Melink.
Well, thank you, Deborah. Good to meet everybody. I guess I want to make this as relevant as possible for all of you who you're involved in this fundraiser for Solarize Uganda Now. And you know, what is solar power and what is its future? And I can tell you that it's the way of the future. You know, for the past century or so, we've been burning fossil fuels to give us what we need to generate power for our lights and heating, air conditioning, etc. And we're quickly transitioning from coal to natural gas, now more and more to solar and wind. But solar is the most ubiquitous way to generate your own electricity, and for not only people in Uganda, but here in the U.S. We all have, or probably most of us have homes, and our rooftops are a place to collect free energy from the sun. There's probably few things that you can guarantee every day more so than the sun rising every day. And it's an incredible resource. There's more sunlight that can be used to power the world than what we can use many times over. So, as the cost has come down dramatically over the last 10 years, it's becoming more and more a mainstream solution. Just very quickly, I've got some slides that show that it's a very simple technology. You have solar panels that collect the sunlight and they convert it to DC power. Of course, your homes and our buildings use AC power, and so there's an inverter that converts the DC power to AC power, and and then it goes right into our breaker box to power our lights, our heating and air conditioning, our refrigerators, etc. So the simplicity of it is really nice. It's virtually maintenance-free. There's no moving parts. There's no pumps or motors or anything like that. The only moving parts are the electrons that flow in the electrical system. There's basically two types of installations. There's on-site solar and there's off-site solar. On-site is if you were to put solar on your own rooftop, whether at your home or your building. And off-site is when you see these massive solar farms out in what were maybe previously cornfields. And that's what utilities are doing. They're putting in these massive solar farms, and they're generating, a lot of power, just like they used to generate power through their coal-fired power plants. And so the opportunity is this for you. Do you want to buy the clean energy from your utility provider, or do you want to capture the savings and generate it directly yourselves? Again, we're all collecting this free resource called solar energy, and it's just who's going to take advantage of it the most. So our company, we've been doing projects for the last 15 years. We do solar projects all over the country. We've done projects in Hawaii, in Texas, in Illinois, New York, Massachusetts. I sold the business earlier this year, so I'm not here to sell anything other than just the information of how you as business people and homeowners can benefit from this in the future. Net metering. What happens if you're generating more power than what you can use? On a sunny day during the spring and the fall, when maybe your heating and air conditioning isn't running, you might be generating more power than you need, and so the power basically goes through your meter, spins it backwards, and you're sending clean energy back to your neighbors. Now the utilities recognize that because your meter is spinning backwards, and so you get a credit on the next month's bill. Now they'll never send you an actual check that, thank you for generating this electricity for us. But they will credit your bill, and if they can't credit this month, they'll credit the next month, and the next month, and the next month. And so it's very possible to have a net zero energy facility or home today, where on average you're generating more than you can use during the spring, summer, and fall. But during the winter time, when the days are cloudier and the days are shorter, then you're probably pulling power from the grid. But on average, over the course of the year, you can be a net producer. This just shows, the graph on the right shows, you can see the shaded yellow graph basically indicating how much solar power is produced compared to the energy usage for each of the 12 months. So the solar array has been sized, so we're not pushing power back to the grid. We're only generating as much as we use. And so that would be, in that situation, you might be 60%, 70%, reduced your energy usage by that amount. So know that electric rates are only going up. The cost of fossil fuels is going up. The cost to extract these fossil fuels, the cost to transport them, the cost to burn them is only going up. And so that's a trend over the last, I guess I can't see the first date, but it's over several decades, and it's only going to continue to rise. And then we can see that in the last year or so, there's been a rate shock. Suddenly utilities are dealing with having to decommission coal plants, and the fact that coal is getting more expensive. And so you might be seeing this on your utility bills, that in the last year or so, your rates have suddenly gone up quite a lot. In comparison, the price of solar has dropped 80% in the last decade. So the curve that starts on the top left and goes downward shows the price of solar, and the bars that you see going upward shows the solar capacity being installed every year. So the industry is growing exponentially every year. Clearly it's the way of the future. And in fact, solar and wind power costs less than coal and natural gas. That's why these large utilities are more and more installing solar and wind farms. And more this as much because the economies of scale maybe aren't quite there. It is for passionate people for clean energy like myself. I've got solar on my home, and there's hundreds of homeowners here in Cincinnati that have solar on their home. So it's very much doable, but if you're strictly looking at it as a financial, is there a return on investment? It's still kind of lagging behind, but know that the day is coming when it's going to be much more affordable. This graph just shows that the bottom flat line is the levelized cost of energy at 2 cents per kilowatt hour. This would be for a large array that we would do for a commercial company. Whereas the rising graph shows what they're typically paying the utility rates. And so again, those rates are only rising. And it shows the opportunity, the strategic opportunity of the business world to become more energy efficient and save billions of dollars. You've probably heard of the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed a year ago, and that is helping to spur a lot of investments towards making America a clean energy leader. More and more they're trying to spur manufacturing here in the U.S. In the past, we've been largely reliant on companies in Asia to provide us the solar panels. And so we need to become more energy independent, not in just the solar resource that we have, but in the manufacturing of these technologies going forward. So there's federal incentives. There's an investment tax credit. So if you were to install solar on your roof, and let's say it costs $10,000, your net cost is really only $7,000 because there's a 30% federal tax credit. So you could reduce your tax liability by $3,000, and that's why the net cost would be $7,000 for the solar system. And just as much as the energy savings opportunity, I think companies are looking at ways to reduce the carbon footprint just from a there's climate change, there's security risks in the world becoming or continue to be dependent on fossil fuels, aka like the Russian invasion of Ukraine, largely funded by Russia's sale of fossil fuels. I mean, they're been called the largest gas station in the world. And you think of the past wars that we've had to fight in the Middle East, largely funded, terrorists being funded by the sale of oil and gas. So we need to rid ourselves of this addiction to fossil fuels and, again, to democratize energy. Again, it's a resource that's available to everyone. It shouldn't be just available, just be for sale by those who have, the means under their feet by which, they poke a hole in the ground and oil and gas come flowing out. There's different ways of financing solar. If you have cash, that would be great because then you can take advantage of that tax credit that I mentioned. But there's other mechanisms. A power purchase agreement is where somebody else owns the system and sells you the power. They become like a mini Duke power company, and they sell you the power, and they just want to lease the space on your roof, for example. So there's a lot of creativity around financing to make this a very cash efficient transaction. I'm just going to show you some pictures of projects that we've installed. Ideally, if you've got the roof space, you want to put it on your roof because you're not going to be infringing on any other land. Your roof is already collecting that energy. Why not actually turn that energy into electricity? And then there's ground mount stuff. Let's say you've got a bunch of equipment on your roof. You can't put the solar panels on your roof, but you've got lots of land available. Then that would be the way to go. And we've installed very large solar farms, megawatts in capacity that can power thousands of homes. And there's also solar canopies over parking lots. Think of the millions of parking lots out there that could be converted into a solar power generator that are just now just ugly asphalt, parking lots. And you might have seen the solar canopy at the zoo. That's a project that we installed back in 2011. So again, it's a great way to not only provide clean energy for your buildings, but it's a real asset in the minds of the people at the zoo, because now all its guests are being able to park under a shaded structure. That is our HQ2 in the foreground. HQ1 is in the background, but we have a solar canopy. We wanted to show that, this is kind of the way of the future. We wanted to inspire our employees, our visitors every day when they come to work. But that solar canopy powers the entire building, and so we're net zero energy. And to prove it, there's $0 for that month, and pretty much we're $0 from May and through August or September, and then as the days get a little bit cloudier and shorter, then we might start pulling a little power from the grid. But overall, in the average of the year, we're net zero energy. So I mentioned that more and more corporations are doing this because they want to be seen by their investors and their customers and their employees as being socially responsible when it comes to climate change and the security risks that I mentioned before, the health risks of burning stuff and putting it in the air. You may know that the city of Cincinnati is very prone to a lot of asthma. 2 of my 4 children had severe asthma when they were growing up. So, the particulates that are generated when you burn stuff and put it up in the air, it makes us vulnerable to population to health risks. So, there's a real brand opportunity here for corporations and for even us as individual citizens. I mean, if it's the right thing for our company, isn't it the right thing for us as individuals? And so often I would say to my peers that they're waiting for government to solve this problem of climate change. This is too big for me to solve this. I'll wait for the government to do it for me, or some other government. But really, we are the ones that are at home, burning the natural gas to heat our homes, and we're driving mostly gas-powered cars, and so we're burning that. And so each of us are individually contributing to this bigger problem. And so it's an opportunity for all of us as individuals to get on the right side of history with our children, our grandchildren, and future generations. So I submit to you that you often hear companies say, or countries say, well, by 2050, we're going to be zero carbon. But the technologies are available today. They're affordable. And I've proven this as a businessman, that it has made our company more sustainable and stronger, that we don't have to wait another 35 years to get to zero carbon. We, as the leader of the free world, really the wealthiest country in the world, we can do it far sooner and pull the other countries behind us. It might take the last country in the world to get there by 2050, but the U.S., we should be getting there at least 10 up to 20 years beforehand. And then we can rightfully say we're the leader of this emerging clean energy revolution. This is my home, and you can see the solar panels off on the right-hand side. So again, I try to walk the talk in every way I can, but it's just not the solar panels that make this home net zero energy. I use LED lighting, it's super insulated, I have a geothermal HVAC system, I have a heat pump water heater. In other words, I'm not burning any fossil fuels. No gas at all is being burned. And how did I get here? Did I drive my gas-powered car? No, I found an electric car and powered by solar energy. So again, the technologies are here today, and more and more of us who have the resources should be helping bring that cost curve down even lower and lower, so that others who are, less privileged, will be able to afford these technologies 5 years, 10 years in the future. that's my Tesla. I'm powering the garage. You know what? I never have to go to a gas station and fill up the gas tank when it's raining or it's 10 degrees outside or anything like that. I just charge it at nighttime when I'm sleeping. So I never have the inconvenience of having to step outside and fill a gas tank. And I never have to think, am I doing the right thing? I've got a good conscience. I sleep really well at night because of that. And that's worth something. So that's my story, and our company's mission, my personal mission, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful presentation, great ideas.
Yeah, right.
Deborah, fabulous work, fabulous work. But I do have some questions and some thoughts. Okay, so if one goes in and this is more about generating energy from solar panels placed on your roof. What's the lifespan of the solar panels that you're using to harvest all this energy? What's the lifespan of those? And prior to putting those on your roof, do you need to check out and see that you need to have your underlayment and roof replaced in the first place? And when a heavy storm comes through, like we get in the springtime or whatever, we get one of these residual hurricanes, etc., coming through, and all of this is blown off the roof, is one's insurance provider going to be covering the cost of the solar collectors as well as the roof? And then I guess another final point, this last energy or someone is going to give you, is that the credit amount the same amount as the retail charge?
Very good. Yes, you should, because the life of these solar panels are warranted for typically at least 30 years. You shouldn't put your solar panels on your roof if you've got a 20-year-old roof that you might have to replace in the next year, 5 years, or whatever. So if you're at 20 years, replace the roof first, and then have the solar PV system installed on the roof. Now, ideally, the roof should be south-facing. The reason I put my solar panels on the ground is I don't have a large south-facing area on my roof, but I did have the land on my property to do it. Let's see, regarding storms, I mean, I've had my solar panels installed. We've installed hundreds of projects around the country. I'm not aware of any project where a storm has caused panels to blow off rooftops or anything like that. These are well-engineered systems, as well-engineered as the roof shingles themselves, meant to be, properly adhered to the roof, attached to the roof. So now, if there's a tornado, it's not going to take the solar panels off; it's going to take your roof off. And same thing with a hurricane, potentially. I don't know if you heard when the hurricane went through Southwest Florida last year, that there was a large project. This whole community is energy independent, powered by solar panels, and the big story was put in the news about how the solar panels were all, it was a well-designed system, so everything was structurally sound even after the hurricane. Homes and Fort Myers were taken away, but the solar farm further inland was fine. What was the last question?
Difference between
yeah. So no, I would. Well, if you have meters that just spin backwards, for a long time I was getting the full value of the credit because I had one of those analog meters, and it would spin backwards anytime I sent power back to the grid. And so the utility wasn't smart. They didn't have a smart enough meter to see, was I just using less energy or what? But now there's smart meters installed, and they see the way of the future. They're putting these smart meters that can detect when when you're generating more power than what the home is using. And so, no, they will not give you as much value for the kilowatt hour that you send back to the grid as the kilowatt hour that you buy. So they're, and that's okay, because Duke Energy, they installed and they maintain the grid, and here I'm using it for free. I'm sending it back and I'm getting credit for it. So I'm okay with that. So anyway, yeah, more questions?
I have a question. All the major oil companies, Chevron, Exxon, you name it, they all are putting on ads that are talking about the green future, how they're contributing. Are they really?
Well, certainly not Exxon and not Chevron. Now, I've seen a lot more hope in what BP and what's the other UK-based Shell? Yeah. So they're investing in renewable energy projects. They see the writing on the wall. This is the way that as the whole car industry is going over to electric. What are these oil companies going to be selling in 10 years? 80% of all cars being sold by 2030 will be electric. And so they've got to be thinking ahead. Are they going to be selling gasoline, or are they going to be selling, electric power? And so, unfortunately, Exxon and Chevron are still invested in, what they have in place right now. But at some point in time, they're going to have to reckon with.
So what's their thinking?
I think maximize profits today. Yeah. Yes.
So there's a lot of talk about rooftops and painting them white so that your house isn't as hot. So when you have a solar panel on your house that attracts the sun, does it make your home warmer?
No, it does just the opposite actually, because all that energy that would otherwise be going into the shingles of your roof and then transmitted down into the attic and then transmitted down into your bedroom, so much of that is being reduced because the solar panels are taking most of that energy and converting it into electricity. And so the residual amount of energy that transmits through the shingles to the attic to your bedroom is dramatically reduced. Most of the energy is going to produce electric power. Yes?
Yes, do you have an idea, an average idea of how much it would cost residents to have a splitting system like this?
Yeah. So think, I'm going to give you a range. It could, on average, it could go $10,000 to $20,000. Everyone's got unique situations, so I'm not going to say it can't be more or whatever. But if you need a system more than $20,000, then I'm thinking, you ought to be looking at strategies to reduce your energy usage first. Like you might have a very inefficient cooling system, or you're heating a lot of hot water for some reason. So you should always use energy conservation, energy efficiency before you size your solar PV system. First, minimize your electric load as far as possible, and then you size your solar PV system for that minimized electric load. Yes?
To follow up on your question, I think you talked about the installation cost of the panels and the inverter, of course, but there's tremendous cost to install the battery system so that you've got power at night. Was your cost estimate?
That did not include batteries. That did not include batteries.
I didn't think it did.
And I didn't have batteries at my home. Yeah, I didn't have batteries in my home until about a year ago. So for over 10 years, I had just the solar PV system. And I was using the grid as my battery. So when I generated too much that I could use, I didn't send it to a battery, I sent it back to the grid. And I was getting credit for that power.
But if I'm not mistaken, doesn't the Inflation Reduction Act also cover batteries?
Yes, it sure does.
Yeah.
Yes.
So some people may want to consider that because the utilities aren't as reliable as you might think, and you could lose your power, and you don't. And while you might get some
that's the battery system. And so you think I never have to pour gasoline or diesel in it to keep it going every single day as the sun rises. The battery's being charged, so it's a great system. And so in the future, just think of every home, every building can be a mini power plant. We no longer have to rely on a central power plant 50 miles away burning something to send us the power. Now all of us, again, have that natural resource coming to us for free. Yes?
So clearly there's a huge environmental impact in solar. I'm concerned about what's the environmental impact about batteries and also used solar panels that will eventually die and need to be replaced. Who's addressing that and how is it being addressed?
I'm less concerned about that problem than I am about climate change. I haven't read any articles yet that says that mining of lithium for batteries and mining of silicon for solar panels is an existential threat to humanity. It causes problems. Any kind of mining can cause problems, right? But no one is talking about global temperatures rising, right, melting all the ice, and there's going to be a point of no return, and we're getting close to that, where the temperatures will we will no longer be able to control it. The temperatures will only continue going up. How survivable will that be 100 years from now, 200 years from now? I don't focus on that as much, but I can say that solar panels, they're silicon panels. Silicon is the most abundant element on the face of the earth. So that's not a problem. So even recycling, there's so much sand, that we have that can be made for solar panels. Now, on the lithium, again, I don't have a good set of knowledge on that, but the alternative to mining lithium is we're mining coal, oil, and gas and burning the stuff and putting it up in the atmosphere. And I think that's the bigger problem. Maybe one more question. Yes?
Have you ever thought of having a TV program? People are seeing the chaos in the weather and everything now, and this would be a good time to have a question and answer thing on TV where everybody can hear what you have to say, because I think it's just great, and other people need to know it too, not us, but the world needs to know it.
Yeah, well, I wrote a book for that reason, as was mentioned by Deborah. I wrote a book called Fusion of Capitalism. Capitalism is what got us into this problem of climate change, but it's also the economic system that can best and quickest get us out of this problem. By putting to work the economic forces of capitalism in the right way, we can deal with climate change. We can deal with the security threats, the health threats, by transitioning from fossil fuels to clean energy. So that's the reason I wrote the book. I don't know why it's become a political issue. I grew up as a conservative, as a Catholic, large family, and I was taught to respect the environment. I was taught you don't cause forest fires and you don't pollute, and now suddenly it's like it's okay. It's like, that doesn't resonate with me. So I feel like, this is something that very close to my heart and soul, that, we're on the wrong path and we need to get on the right side of history for our children and grandchildren. I'm pro-life, but I think it should be pro-life, across the whole spectrum, not just. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. That was extremely informative, and we need to know more about our climate and what we can do to stop the sun from burning, right? And burning us. So we have a coin here. Oh, you probably on Amazon. Your book is available on Amazon. We have a coin here that has the Cincinnati skyline, as well as our 4-way test, and we would like to present that to you. And a donation has been made to Rotary International in honor of your presentation today. So thank you very much. you agree? We have a committee meeting today at 1:30 p.m. Membership Review Committee, President's Room on the first floor. And also remember to put your RSVP in today for Rotarians at work. As you're leaving out, we will have a 1.2 video playing for Sun Project, so as you're leaving out today. So please stand and meeting is